please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Let's go straight across to all of the action on Mint Street then, as the rupee fall continues to be our top focus. The rupee has fallen for the 6th straight session after plummeting to an all-time low of 71.97 against the dollar. Now, this all-round dollar demand is one of the key reasons for the fall of the Indian currency. To analyze that further, Lata Venkatesh is here with more details. Lata, the rupee fall continues. What is the reason?
It was a bit surprising that the rupee should have fallen so much in morning trades, because crude distinctly started $1 cheaper than it was 24 hours ago when the markets ended yesterday. There was also not too much of chaos in some of the markets like Philippines. So it appeared that there isn't going to, there is a chance that there would be a respite from selling, but there wasn't any respite in early trade. And the currency went from weakness to weakness. Yesterday, 71.58 became 71.97 in a matter of hours. And then there came a bit of a U-turn. I couldn't confirm whether it was because Reserve Bank was offering. Usually in front of big numbers like 72, it's quite possible that the market itself wants to cover shorts or draw down, wind down its longs, take profit on its long dollar positions. That could have been the reason. Nobody confirmed that it was supply from RBI. And as European markets opened much in the red, and the dollar once again gained strength, and we saw early morning rates from Rand and Lira once again coming under pressure, the rupee once again started succumbing to that sentiment. But the mood in the market is that it probably has corrected enough, but unless the Reserve Bank walks the talk, or, you know, the government talks and the Reserve Bank walks that talk, the rupee really will not stabilize. Both Mr. Rajiv Kumar and perhaps to some extent Sanjeev Sanyal in open statements, even Mr. Garg, have said that they're comfortable with the depreciation of the currency. That may have perhaps been correct at 69. But at 71 and going on to 72, the market really wants to know. The Reserve Bank also around that time stopped intervening with ferocity. So the market is now only looking at government and RBI. They want some talk to say that the fall has ended, and they believe that short sellers and traders and even investors will continue to take the currency lower unless there is an external intervention, more by talk, from either the government or the Reserve Bank. Just a word on the bond markets. With the rupee falling, the bond yields also went as high as 8.12. But with the mild recovery in the rupee, we did see bond yields also come back to 8.06, 07. But there as well, sentiment is extremely fragile. And chances of bonds going down are much higher than bonds going up.
We're very close to being at a turning point. I think once we see a change in perceptions on US interest rates, then I think the pressure is going to be off. And then I think we'll start to look a little bit more selectively at the individual currencies. And when the market does start to look more selectively, it surely will ask itself, why on earth was India the worst performing currency in Asia in the third quarter of 2018? Because that simply is not warranted by the economic fundamentals.
Well, I mean, they have been in and out, you know, that's point one. Point two, there was an interesting article today from Sanjeev Sanyal, who is, you know, the non-finance secretary, he's an advisor in the finance ministry, and he seemed to suggest that generally they feel like it's not, you know, it's okay if the rupee is falling, it just shouldn't fall too fast, right? And so RBI has got reserves, but I think probably we can assume there will be an interest rate hike sooner or later.
All right, from currency to crude then, oil prices have taken a breather in today's trade on the back of a surge in US oil inventories as well as a strong dollar. Now, prices may also have fallen after Storm Gordon made a landfall near the Alabama-Mississippi border instead of hitting the Gulf of Mexico. Now, back home in India, petrol and diesel prices remain unchanged as there is no new hike today. However, they continue to remain at record highs. Manisha Gupta, our commodity editor, joins us now with more updates on the following. Manisha, what lies ahead for crude and what does it mean for India? Take us through that.
But it has been a better day as far as the crude oil prices are concerned. We are off 3.5-month highs that we saw the prices trading at yesterday, almost an $80 per barrel. And that is because the Hurricane Gordon has made a landfall at Alabama-Mississippi border, which is slightly away from the Gulf of Mexico oil facilities. In any case, it was a Category 1 hurricane, so the markets were not looking at a deeper damage or a longer-term impact from this. And that is the reason you have seen that profit-taking come in. Well, the Gulf of Mexico is an important place because 45% of the national refining capacity is here, and 17% of total oil output of the region also comes in from this space. So that is what led the prices to rush up, but that premium has come off the markets right now. But the support does continue because of the Iran sanction concerns. Markets are anticipating a tightness in supplies as we get into the final quarter of this calendar year. There are supply concerns also coming in from many of the OPEC countries. And then it's also about elections in Libya and Nigeria. So some internal concerns, geopolitical tensions is expected to continue, which will support crude oil prices going forward. In the Indian markets as well, after 10 days of record highs on petrol and diesel, today has been a day when you have seen both of these prices unchanged because there has been a decline in crude oil prices from where we were trading yesterday. But with the kind of scenario that we seem to be working with right now, the expectation is that you are looking at some consolidation in crude oil prices. As we get near to that 4th November Iran sanction deadline, there is some premium that could be building back and forth into the prices. So the worst is clearly not over. Markets do anticipate that around these levels or some more gains in crude oil prices is what we are going to be looking at for the next couple of months at least.
All right, Manisha, thank you very much. As Manisha was telling us, the weakness in rupee is also reflecting on Dalal Street as well, with indices slipping in early trade today. The post-lunch session, however, saw a turnaround with the bulls making an appearance. The Nifty bounced back after falling to 11,400 and rallied 80 points from there. The Sensex continued to fall for the 6th straight session, but managed to keep its head above the 38,000 mark. Mid-caps and banks also recovered, along with the benchmarks, as both saw a sharp pullback of over 1% each to end with minor losses. Anuj Singhal joins us now with a key wrap of today's trading action. Anuj.
Well, big volatility through the day today. The market at one point was breaking down. The Nifty broke 11,400 and from there it had a sharp last hour rally which took it to 11,477, nearly an 80-point intraday pullback or last hour pullback. The market recovered 2/3 of the lost ground in last hour. The Nifty bank even more, at one point almost going into the green after a big 300-point intraday decline. In terms of stocks that lost ground today, you had Hindustan Unilever once again, Titan, Kotak Mahindra Bank, Bajaj Finance, Reliance and Infosys. On the gaining side, you had Yes Bank, Hindalco, Vedanta, Tata Motors, Sun Pharma and Adani Ports. In the F&O space, there were big movers today on both sides. BEL and EIL were two stocks where we saw massive cuts, but Muthoot Finance, Reliance Infra, Biocon, Nalco were the stocks where there was a move on the upside. All in all, the bulls would want to believe that it was a bit of a late fight, though the bears still won the day, but the bulls are still in it to fight another day. And of course, we'll find out tomorrow if the bulls can reclaim some more ground and get back to that 11,500.
Oh, absolutely, Anuj. Thank you very much for decoding the day's trading action. Now, it was a sea of red across global markets today as well, as emerging markets witnessed a sell-off for the second day running. The Shanghai market tumbled more than 1.5%. The Hang Seng also saw deeper cuts, falling more than 2.5%. Other markets relatively performed better, with the South Korean Kospi closing 1% in the red and the Japanese Nikkei shedding 0.5%. And it's the same story across Europe as well. The German DAX and the French CAC on your screen right now are trading with cuts of 1% at least, with the British FTSE down close to 0.25%. Now, here's an exclusive news break from CNBC TV18. The United States is set to raise its concerns regarding RBI's data localization diktat with the central bank, that is RBI. Now, sources say a delegation of US officials will soon meet the RBI to discuss these concerns. Remember, just in April this year, the Reserve Bank had announced that all payment system operators would need to ensure that the data related to payment systems operated by them are stored within the boundaries of India. Now, the central bank had given all these players 6 months to comply with the new norm. Yash Jain joins us now with the exclusive details that he has picked up. Yash, take us through what you've heard.
Well, the noise around RBI's regulations with respect to data localization echoed at the US IBC conference also, which is taking place in Mumbai. What sources are telling us is that a senior delegation of US government officials met the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Devendra Fadnavis, and raised concerns with respect to the regulations around data localization. The delegation, the US delegation, said very clearly and stressed on the fact that it is very, very difficult for US financial services firm, for US cloud computing companies to comply with the regulations which RBI has put out around data localization. Also, another aspect of it, they've said that the time frame which has been given to all these companies to comply with these regulations is too short, and it is becoming a task for these companies to really cope up and comply with these regulations. Now, in order to find resolution to this problem, what we're going to understand is that the US delegation, the government officials, are expected to meet the Central Bank, Reserve Bank of India tomorrow to discuss the same concerns, to discuss concerns around timeline, the regulations, and seek an extension as far as that particular timeline is concerned. But yes, what I've been given to understand is that in the conversation which the delegation had with Maharashtra Chief Minister, that conversation ended with a statement from the delegation, the US delegation, and they said that if India believes in free flow of trade as well as people, then it better ensure free flow of data as well.
All right, Yash, thank you very much. We'll leave it at that. Now, staying with the India-US relations then, representatives from the India and the United States are all set to meet in New Delhi come tomorrow for the much-awaited 2+2 dialogue between these two countries. Now, with just 1 day to go, the United States Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who's in Pakistan today, has said that issues related to Iran and the S-400 missile system are unlikely to be resolved in this set of meetings. Parikshit Luthra, who has been tracking this story very, very closely, joins us now. Parikshit, the US Secretary of State is keeping expectations very low, clearly.
The fact is, the statement emphasized that they're looking at India as a key player in the strategic policy for the next 30 to 40 years. They said, yes, Iran and Russia will be on the table as far as discussions are concerned, but they do not hope to resolve the S-400 air defense system issue and also the Iran oil issue in this particular 2+2 dialogue. This is a conversation that will go on and may even take more time. Having said that, US would like to really see how much can we reduce our defense dependency on Russia and oil dependency on Iran as well. What will be our relationship with China in the days to come? Because the US government sees that India-China ties are on the mend. We are trying to push our trade ties even further. We know that US and China are having trade differences. So US would really like to see India's relationship with Iran, the Middle East, China, Russia, Iran in the next couple of months and how we can synergize our foreign policy together.
All right, Parikshit, thank you very much for bringing us all of those updates ahead of the 2+2 summit tomorrow. It's time now for a very short break on the show, but coming up next, the construction sector in Maharashtra and Uttarakhand